welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Grad Med Journey. So firstly, I just wanted to say well done, congratulations to everyone who has submitted their UCAS application. The deadline has just passed. I remember very well how stressful and just the amount of preparation that goes into preparing for the whole UCAS season, whether that's work experience, volunteering, paid work, and then moving on to things like your personal statement, the UCAT. There is a lot to do, and I think one of the hardest things about applying to medicine, whether that's undergraduate or graduate entry medicine, is that you start probably the earliest compared to any other course, and the whole process lasts the longest, and you don't find out that you've got an interview or you've got an unconditional offer until probably some of the last people as well. So it's such a long process, but well done. You've done the hard bit, and you can just sort of take a step back and relax, and as much as you can, forget about it for a little while. Because it does take up a lot of brain space and stress, so well done. So I am now a third year medical student. I passed my second year exams, but also because it's around this UCAS deadline, I thought that I would kind of celebrate / look back on my grad med journey and read you my personal statement that I wrote to get into Warwick. Now, that might seem a bit odd, but I've actually had quite a few requests that have said, please do this. The other thing is that I'll probably also read through my personal statement that I wrote when I would have written it when I was 17 years old, to apply for undergraduate medicine. Now, if you've watched my channel or know anything about me, you'll know that I did apply for undergraduate medicine, but for various reasons I didn't get in because I didn't have the grades. And despite a lot of people telling me to take a gap year, redo your A-levels, etc, I didn't want to take a year out of learning. But at the same time, I knew that I would always regret not applying for medicine. I applied for medical science at Birmingham, and truthfully, I'm so glad that I did that. I know, even now looking back, that I am glad that I have gone the way I did, that I applied for medicine, that I didn't get in, that I then did medical science. It was the right path for me, but when I was writing my personal statement and when I read over others, it reminds me of my undergraduate personal statement and how different that personal statement is compared to my graduate entry personal statement. For a variety of reasons. My graduate entry one I think sounds a little bit more mature just because I had those couple of extra years. I knew a lot more what med schools were looking for in personal statements, and I think just the extra couple of years really helped. So I'm going to start off reading my personal statement from to get into Warwick, or to get into graduate entry medicine. I did apply to other unis. And then I'll read you my undergraduate personal statement. Okay, so I've got my personal statement on my iPad in front of me, and I'm just going to go straight in and start reading it. Many factors have contributed to my decision to apply for medicine. For me, medicine is about holistic care, encompassing patient and family. The process of diagnosis and deciding on treatments to make a real difference to patients is what appeals to me. Doctors can give hope to patients, friends, and relatives, and so empathy is vital, whilst also maintaining a professional distance in order to diagnose patients. This is something I believe I have developed during work experience. My medical science degree has shown me the complexities of medicine. Learning about the science behind medicine inspires me to apply this knowledge in a clinical setting. I have obtained a huge amount of scientific knowledge and matured greatly throughout the degree. I have developed transferable skills, in particular self-directed learning, which I know will be important when studying a postgraduate degree. The degree has given me many opportunities, including presentations which improved my oral communication skills and group work and has developed my team skills. I am also a technology ambassador, which has provided opportunities to take on positions of responsibility, improve leadership skills, and develop my own problem-solving skills. I have prioritised work experience placements and shadowed doctors in a variety of specialties. I recognise the need for emotional resilience after spending a week on an oncology ward, as well as a week in a cancer and haematology centre, where I was exposed to patients in intensive care, wards and outpatient clinics. I also spent a week in an ophthalmology department. It was fascinating to see a completely different specialty and observe the equal importance of smaller departments where the majority of patients have outpatient appointments or day surgery instead of inpatient stays. Overall, I have realised the significance of a multidisciplinary approach as well as the need for teamwork and good communication between staff of different roles. Placements across the country have enabled me to compare the challenges that different trusts face. From cultural and language barriers to difficulties implementing new electronic patient record systems. I have been particularly interested in paediatrics and spent a week shadowing a doctor who works across the paediatric wards of my local hospital. This placement showed the difficulties of diagnosing children, partly due to their inability to describe how they're feeling. This led me to start weekly volunteering for a couple of hours at Birmingham Children's Hospital. I am based on the Paediatric Intensive Care Unit, which is challenging, but seeing the effect small gestures have on patients and families is inspiring. I am passionate about bringing this universal care for patient and family into a medical career. I have been a bank healthcare assistant for over a year and am exposed to a variety of wards and clinics. Working as a healthcare assistant is not glamorous, but has shown how simple yet important tasks, such as helping patients with toileting, nutrition, and taking regular vital signs, are fundamental for patient care. Being a healthcare assistant has been extremely valuable. However, it does not give me the opportunity to solve the underlying issue as a doctor can. I understand the importance of maintaining a good work-life balance. In my spare time, I enjoy music and photography, and I am a member of various university societies, including MedMinds and the University Symphony Orchestra. Two of my strengths, prioritization and organisation, have proven vital in balancing my studies with extracurricular activities. I am conscientious, independent, and self-motivated. I appreciate graduate medicine is a difficult degree, and a medical career is a lifelong, although extremely rewarding profession. I am extremely excited to make the sacrifice to work and study hard, and I am ready to study postgraduate medicine. So that was my personal statement. It's quite intense, even reading through it. So I guess even reading through it now, there are still things that I would probably change a little bit, the wording of things, but thinking about the content, I'm actually quite impressed I managed to fit so much into that. And yeah, that's a big difference to my undergraduate personal statement, which let's read through now. Okay, so I've dug out my undergraduate personal statement. Cancer is the silent killer. It can take everything from us. Oh, this is dramatic. I witnessed my father suffering with cancer, which sadly led to his death, but being unable to help him was disheartening. Observing my godmother, who is a doctor, treating patients with complete determination, dedication, and knowledge has inspired me to pursue a career in medicine. I am such a determined and dedicated person that I will work as hard as I can to achieve my goals. On work experience, I saw chemotherapy and radiotherapy in practice in an oncology ward, where I learned basic attributes of a healthcare professional. These include resilience when faced with patients who are in a lot of pain and suffering greatly. I also spent a week at a cancer and haematology centre where I was introduced to the process of diagnosing esophageal cancer and the different tests and scans involved, such as PET scans, endoscopies, and laparoscopic surgery. It also showed me the vital importance of teamwork in medicine today. I saw doctors with different areas of expertise draw upon each other in a multidisciplinary team meeting, working to provide truly holistic care, drawing on each other's experience. I also spent a week in an ophthalmology department where clinics and day cases replaced the inpatient stays and major procedures I had seen before, for conditions such as glaucoma and cataracts. I have learnt from placements not to let my emotions get in the way of work, regardless of how difficult the situation is. I have always loved learning, and I especially enjoy wider reading. I recently did some independent research on how nanotechnology can be used in the delivery of medicines. The idea that dendrimers could be used with nanotechnology to help target tumours and gene therapy intrigues me and sparked an ambition to make my own contributions through research. During work experience in a laboratory producing graphene and carbon nanotubes, I experienced scanning and transmission electron microscope techniques firsthand. I have always enjoyed helping people. My weekly volunteer work with a local charity that provides sports and activities for children and young adults with special needs has improved my teamwork and communication skills. I am currently writing an EPQ on music therapy and its uses in the treatment of oncology patients. My research and project management skills have thus improved, as well as my ability to work independently. I have been a music scholar since the age of 11, and in university I hope to join medical society music groups. I play several instruments, including the piano and violin to post-grade 8 standard, as well as the organ. I am currently a member of various orchestras, choirs, and music groups, including the Oxfordshire County Youth Orchestra and church choirs. Being the leader of Suffolk Young Strings proved my capability of working within a team due to decisions I had to make for entire orchestra to follow. I find music relaxing, however I work well under the pressure of a concert. Over the past year, I was company secretary of Inc., a young enterprise company, which has provided me with the skills needed to achieve objectives, cope with problems, create and run a company. I pitched our cookbook to the Mid-Counties Co-op, and they agreed to sell thousands of our 2 children's cookbooks. I am interested in different cultures and languages and have travelled internationally, including the United States, Slovenia, the Netherlands, and the Philippines. Medicine is a challenging career to pursue and is therefore extremely rewarding, and I am certain I will enjoy it thoroughly. I have an aspiration to make a difference to people's lives, and helping patients through disease and illness would help me fulfill this dream. So I don't really know what to make of that. It's very different. The start is very dramatic, and there are pros and cons about talking about personal experiences in your personal statement. I would say you don't need to include it because it doesn't define you. I went through a very tough time in my undergrad and I didn't write about it at all in my personal statement, but I did hint towards it when I said prioritisation and organisation were very important. But I think things like that affect you, your personal statement is about showing off who you are, and it's a very weird thing to write because we're not used to saying how good we are at certain things, but you don't want to focus on your difficulties, you want to focus on your successes. For your difficulties and how you've overcome them, I personally would leave that to your referee. Depending on who you've got, I know that for my graduate entry application, it was my personal tutor from Birmingham who was absolutely lovely. But although she wrote the personal statement and I never saw the personal statement, she did say she would make sure that it showed the difficulties that I had faced in my undergraduate degree and how despite all of that I had done XYZ, achieved this, how determined I was, how I refused to take a year out. So I haven't spoken about that in my second personal statement, although I did talk about it in my first. But I would advise people not to talk about that. I've done a lot of lists in my first personal statement, which I think I avoided in my second one, and it just makes the second one a lot more punchy, and you've got the words that you would have used in your lists to talk about something else or to describe what you learnt. I think a good thing from both of them is that I said I learnt about how MDT works, I learnt about being resilient. I noticed a couple more grammatical errors in my in my very first undergraduate entry, medicine personal statement. I find it interesting how much I talked about scientific research, considering I really wanted to go into medicine at that point. I guess it showed that I was still really interested in science as a whole, and is potentially why I got into medical science at Birmingham, because it came across in my personal statement. And even today, even now, I really enjoy research. I'm doing a service evaluation at the moment as part of my student selected component, and it just reminds me how much I enjoy research, and it's definitely something that I want to continue doing when I'm a doctor, if I get there. It's only 18 months away, which is terrifying. But yeah, I find it interesting how much I talked about that, and how I then went on to study medical science, and I did a lab research project for my final dissertation, which I loved. I can't get over how dramatic the beginning was. And I also feel like I could have ended my undergrad personal statement a lot more, I don't know, with a lot more strength and sort of oomph. You know what I mean? I can't really describe it in words, but I think you know what I mean. So yeah, those were my two personal statements, one from my application to graduate entry medicine, and the other one for when I applied for undergraduate medicine, which I can't believe was 6 years ago when I wrote that. It's ridiculous. I hope you've enjoyed this video. A couple of people have been asking for it for a couple of years now, and I always mean to do it, and I just haven't had time. I've had a lot of messages from you guys recently over the last couple of months about application, work experience, I don't know, A-levels, lots and lots of different things. I've tried to respond to as many of them as possible. If you sent me a message a while ago and I haven't responded to it, send it to me again, please. I really want to be able to help you guys. Sometimes I just get a little bit busy and a little bit overwhelmed with everything. But do send it again and I will respond. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall see you next time. Bye.